Please note, this episode is best experienced with headphones. This story explores violence, trauma, and the realities of abuse. It is reflective in tone and not sensational. Please take care while listening. Welcome to Beyond Haunted UK, a place where history, psychology, and the paranormal meet. I'm Jamie, and tonight we step into a story that feels less like a haunting and more like a wound. Because some ghosts aren't found in old buildings, they live inside people. This is the story of Aileen Wuornos, born into the dark. Not as a monster, not as a headline, but as a human being shaped by trauma, abandonment, and a world that never made space for her to heal. Aileen Wuornos was born in 1956 in Michigan. Before she could walk, she was already unwanted. Her father was a convicted child abuser who later took his own life in prison. Her mother abandoned her. She was raised by grandparents who were emotionally cold and by many accounts, abusive. By the age of 11, Aileen was reportedly trading her body for cigarettes and food. By 13, she was pregnant, and the baby was taken from her, and she left home not long after. And from that moment on, the world became something she had to survive and not live in. We often imagine serial killers as something other, a separate species, a thing apart. But Aileen wasn't born violent. She was born vulnerable. She drifted across America, hitchhiking, sleeping rough, and selling herself to stay alive. Every interaction taught her the same lesson: that her body was currency, that her safety was negotiable, and that kindness was rare. And somewhere in that cycle, something hardened. Not evil, not madness, but armour. Between 1989 and 1990, 7 men were killed. All had picked Aileen up while she was working as a roadside sex worker in Florida. She claimed self-defence, that they had assaulted her, that they had tried to kill her. But the court did not believe her. And maybe that's one of the most haunting parts, because in a world where women like Aileen are invisible, where sex workers are rarely believed, how do you prove that violence followed you long before you ever fought back? Aileen didn't deny the killings, but she never accepted the label. She said she was surviving, that she was defending herself in a world that had never defended her. The media didn't care, and they called her America's first female serial killer. They turned her into a spectacle, a curiosity, a woman who didn't fit the script. She wasn't seductive, she wasn't mysterious, she was rough, unpolished, and angry. And anger in a woman makes people uncomfortable. I often think about what it means to be haunted. We imagine cold corridors, footsteps in the dark, and shadows that don't belong. But what if haunting looks like memory? Like fear that never leaves your bones? What if Aileen was haunted long before she ever harmed anyone? By hands that weren't gentle, by homes that weren't safe, and by a childhood that taught her the world was something to brace against. Maybe the real ghost in her story is the girl who never got to be protected. In prison, Aileen's mental state deteriorated. She became paranoid. She spoke of conspiracies, of voices. Some saw madness. Others saw a woman breaking under decades of abandonment. When she was executed in 2002, she was 46 years old. Her final words weren't dramatic. They weren't defiant. She said she would be sailing with the rock, that she believed in something beyond this world. Even at the end, she was still searching for meaning, and still trying to belong somewhere. I want to be clear about something. 7 people lost their lives. Families were left with absence where voices once were. And whatever pain Aileen carried, it does not outweigh the harm she caused. Understanding is not forgiveness. Empathy is not absolution. Those lives mattered. They still matter. But stories like this ask something deeper of us. Not just what happened, but what lingers. Because this is a podcast about hauntings. And not all hauntings walk corridors. Not all ghosts wear faces. Some hauntings are imprints, moments of fear pressed into time, pain that never fully leaves the places it passed through. If we are energy, and energy cannot be destroyed, what happens to a life shaped by trauma? What happens to harm received and given when a body ends? Does suffering dissolve, or does it change form? Maybe ghosts aren't always people. Maybe they are moments, echoes, residue. The scream that never left a room. The fear that soaked into a roadside verge. The final thought that lingered in the air long after breath stopped. What if hauntings are not spirits, but memories of impact? Aileen Wuornos may not walk any corridor, but her story leaves a question behind. Does trauma create a shadow that stretches beyond death? Does harm ripple outward in ways we don't yet understand? Is spiritual karma simply energy trying to resolve itself? And if that's true, then every act matters. Every kindness, every cruelty, and every moment we leave behind in a place. Because we are not just bodies moving through the world. We are experiences. We are echoes in other people. We are imprints in time. Some hauntings are not about who remains. They are about what happened. And maybe the real ghost in this story is not Aileen Wuornos, but the question she leaves behind. What part of us carries on when the body is gone? Before you go, don't forget to follow Beyond Haunted UK on Spotify and across social media. Every follow, every share, and every message helps this community grow and keeps these stories alive. You'll find us wherever the strange and the spiritual meet. And as always, keep the light on